A chilling death threat has been delivered to the desk of Andiswa Mengo, the secretary who lodged a sexual harassment complaint against Eastern Cape Judge President Selby Mbenenge. According to News 24, this handwritten note was found at the High Court in Makhanda last week. One side read, quote, "Remember, one bullet is waiting for you." On the other side, a note read, a threat that she would not see her child again if she didn't withdraw the case. Let's unpack the story further. We're joined now by Alison Tilley. She's a coordinator for Judges Matter. Alison, good afternoon. I mean, the fact that this has happened, according to these News 24 reports, is chilling enough, but that it's been able to take place inside some, what should be probably one of the safest places, and we know from other experience that it's not, but inside the Eastern Cape High Court is something altogether more chilling.
It's very concerning. You're right that that should be a space that is very, very carefully secured. Our judges and magistrates and the support staff work in a difficult environment in many cases, whether it's from infrastructure or other issues. They should at least be safe in their own offices. Where the security should theoretically be watertight.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that came to mind when I read the story is, well, there's obviously a way to check this. These are offices that are surely closely monitored with CCTV. So let's start there. But we now know, according to News 24, that one of their sources said the cameras just happened to not be working on that day.
I think that raises many more questions than we can answer here. We know that in some, certainly magistrates' courts, magistrates say that they frequently feel unsafe. They are under threat. In the Western Cape, 4 out of 10 magistrates say that they have been threatened in the line of duty. So we know that it's an environment in which there should be security, and there really is no excuse for cameras not working. We know that there's been a real effort from the Department of Justice to make sure that there is a budget available for things to be fixed on a day-to-day basis at courts. So it's difficult to see what the excuse is for the security systems not working.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you talk about the Western Cape. I mean, that's where the most recent incident happened, right? In April at the Wynberg Regional Court, where a suspect, or I think it was someone who would have been testifying, a witness who was shot dead in the corridors of that regional court.
I think what we're seeing is that there's, and this is across the country, there are courtrooms that don't have a security presence. Where there is security, people are not, the people who work at the courts are not happy with the security, and it goes hand in hand with people being concerned about other infrastructural issues. But, the question as to whether the lift works or not is a concern. The air conditioning, fair enough, it's a concern. Mm-hmm. But actual threats, death threats, and killings inside courts and right outside them is really something that goes to the heart of justice and the rule of law.
I mean, how do we expect our judges, any of the support staff working inside a courtroom where they are dealing with all kinds of matters involving gangsterism, involving trafficking, drugs? We know the kind of figures involved in the underworld. How do we expect our judges and support staff to work on cases like that when basics are not being done, like checking someone's bag before they enter a courthouse?
Mm. No, it really is deplorable, and I think we really have to turn to the Minister of Justice in terms of justice's role. The OCJ is also involved. The security services, it is escalating. I think that's the thing that worries me, is that it's not that we've had 1 or 2 isolated incidents and it's done. People are concerned and growing more afraid. The threats seem to be escalating, and then when you have this kind of threat right inside the building, I think we can't treat it as business as usual. It's part of our courts being in a bigger crisis of being under-resourced and not enough people and not enough judges. It's something that really has to be dealt with.
So outside of the fact that the ministry certainly needs to deal with what appears to be a real lack of resources in the judiciary, outside of that, if we hone in on the issue of Andiswa Mengo and being involved in a very high-profile case of sexual harassment claims against the Eastern Cape Judge President, a death threat lands on her desk. There's no CCTV footage to catch who might have put it there. Not only that, it's not the first time her life has been threatened since opening this case. I understand in 2023, just shortly after she submitted this formal complaint, which led to the establishment of this judicial tribunal, she had to be taken out of the province for her safety after she also received an anonymous threat on her cell phone. What needs to happen here in terms of which body needs to get involved? We know that sexual survivors of gender-based violence and femicide in our country, it's hard enough for them to approach the courts or even to approach police for that matter. So when something like this takes place within the offices of the High Court, what are the organizations here that need to step in?
Well, I think we're looking towards the heads of court and the Chief Justice who are developing a sexual harassment policy. We understand that it's nearly ready to be released, but frankly, that's only one part of the problem. If you are a person at this point who would like to raise a concern, and particularly if you're somebody who wants to lay a complaint around sexual harassment, I think these circumstances would have a chilling effect. I think that if you are looking at what is happening to this survivor, you would say to yourself, I'm really going to think twice and three times about coming forward. And of course, if that's the situation we're in, then how can we ever deal with the problem? Because perpetrators then continue unchecked. So it's something that what is also concerning is that it's sending a chilling effect to the people in the system who might be thinking to themselves that they should be raising a concern.
Yeah.
And then looking at what happens to people who do and deciding to step back and not actually put their evidence to the appropriate body. So Department of Justice, Office of the Chief Justice, I think those are really the central places where these things have to be dealt with.
And according to News 24, it was when she and a colleague arrived at work in the judge's chambers on Friday, the 30th of May, so last Friday, that's when she found that note. Alison Tilley, thanks very much for joining us this afternoon. Alison is a coordinator at Judges Matter.